Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a topic that feels, well, incredibly simple on the surface, maybe.
Yeah, almost deceptively so.
Right. Something you've maybe heard about 100 times, but, based on the source you've shared with us, it seems to hold this surprising depth, real transformative power. So, our source material for this particular dive, it's drawn from like a reflective piece,
Hmm?
almost like a personal journal entry or maybe a transcript of someone just quietly thinking things through.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And it gently but pretty powerfully encourages us to just slow down, to
Mm.
really see the life we're living right now.
And our mission for this deep dive, well, it's to truly unpack this idea of gratitude.
Sure.
And like you said,
Yeah.
we're not just talking about a polite thank you or, a fleeting good mood.
Oh, no.
The source presents it as something more fundamental, like a real shift in how you orient yourself to the world.
Yeah.
So we want to understand how intentionally focusing on what you already possess,
Yeah.
instead of getting caught up in what feels missing,
Uh-huh.
how that can fundamentally change your experience of life,
Yeah.
and maybe even how you approach growth and learning.
Exactly. So it's not about finding something new out there necessarily.
No.
It's more about training yourself maybe to see your own life, the one you're in right here, right now, just through a different lens.
That's it. Seeing it with new eyes.
Okay, let's start unpacking this then. The source kicks off with this scene, and it feels incredibly relatable. You're busy, maybe overwhelmed.
Mind racing?
Yeah, mind racing, thinking about tasks, worries. Just focus squarely on the grind. The
Usually.
usual. And then there's this small moment, almost insignificant. It mentions seeing a child just completely lost in joy, laughing in a park.
Right.
What does the source suggest that kind of simple interruption actually does to us?
Well, what's fascinating about that moment, as the source describes it, is its power as like a pattern interrupt. It's like this tiny anchor dropped right into the present moment.
Mhm.
It stops that forward rush of the busy brain,
Yeah.
And just for a second, it pulls you out of that story of needing or doing more.
Right.
It just opens up a little space. And in that space, other simple things can suddenly be noticed. Maybe the warmth of the sun, like you said, or the sound of the wind,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a specific smell. It's a perfectly ordinary day, but the experience of it shifts.
Yeah.
And that prompts a feeling of, well, thankfulness,
Yeah.
really, even before you consciously put a label on it.
Right. And that ties into a core challenge the source points out, doesn't it? We are just constantly oriented towards the future. The next goal, the next achievement, the next thing we need to get to feel complete or successful.
Always looking ahead.
Always.
Yeah.
How does the source frame the danger of this constant future focus? Especially when it comes to feeling, content right now.
Yeah, it makes a very powerful case that our modern default setting is basically lack.
Lack, okay.
We're sort of trained, culturally perhaps, to see what's missing, what's not there yet. And the source explicitly connects this feeling of not enough directly to comparison.
Comparison.
You simply cannot appreciate your own journey, your own current reality, if you're perpetually measuring it against someone else's perceived highlights, real,
Yeah.
their best moments.
Yeah, comparison is called the thief of joy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the source really leans into that.
It does.
Heavily.
And it's not just material things, though that's obviously a big part of it in our culture.
Yeah.
It's the internal comparisons, too, that feeling that you should be smarter or more disciplined or further along in your career, maybe happier in relationships.
Yeah, the shoulds.
Exactly. That internal should becomes this incredibly heavy weight, constantly highlighting what you perceive as your deficiencies.
And, when your internal landscape is dominated by comparing what you are or have
Mm-hmm.
to what you think you should be or what they seem to have,
Yeah.
well, it's psychologically impossible to simultaneously inhabit a state of genuine appreciation for your current reality.
Impossible.
Okay, the source suggests happiness, or maybe a better word is contentedness, or peace. It doesn't arrive when everything is perfect,
Right.
or when you finally closed every single gap identified by that comparison engine in your head.
So when does it begin?
It begins, the source argues, when you shift your internal spotlight, when you consciously choose to focus it on what is actually here, right now.
That's where it starts to get really interesting, I think. The source poses this almost counterintuitive question.
Mm-hmm.
What if you already have what someone else is actively dreaming of right now?
Wow. Yeah.
What if your ordinary, flawed, maybe imperfect life, looked at from a slightly different angle, is actually someone else's miracle?
And this leads to a really deeply moving idea presented in the source.
Which is?
The possibility that
Mhm.
you, right now, are currently living in the answered prayers of a past version of yourself.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Think back 5, 10, 15 years ago. What were you struggling with then? What were you wishing for?
Mhm.
Maybe a stable job or a safe place to live.
Mm-hmm.
Healing from something difficult. Learning a particular skill.
And yeah, so often we reach those milestones, those things that were past dreams, and what do?
We immediately update the wish list.
Exactly. We don't even pause, do we? We don't acknowledge it. We just shift focus straight away to the next thing that feels missing.
It's like we're constantly moving the goalposts on our own happiness or our own sense of worth.
Yeah, we never quite arrive.
And the source implies that if we don't intentionally stop and truly recognize how far we've actually come, the challenges we overcame, the lessons learned, the quiet victories we achieved,
Mm-hmm.
we completely miss the richness of where we are right now.
Yeah,
Your present life isn't just a stepping stone to the next thing.
it's the thing itself.
It is the realization of hopes you once held so tightly.
So this isn't about just settling then, or giving up on goals, because that's sometimes how gratitude gets misinterpreted, I think.
No, absolutely not. The source seems quite clear on that. You can absolutely still strive, still work towards the future, still want more or different,
Okay.
but it makes a vital distinction. You don't have to feel empty or insufficient while you're on that path.
Right.
You can be genuinely full of appreciation for your present reality and still move forward with hope and intention. It's not either.
Okay, that's key. Seeing the present moment, this current version of your life, as inherently valuable.
Yes,
Not just valuable if it leads somewhere else. That changes everything.
it does. Gratitude, in this sense, it doesn't necessarily change the external circumstances of your life immediately.
Right.
It changes your internal experience of those circumstances. It changes where your attention habitually goes.
And the source offers a surprisingly simple way to start cultivating this shift, doesn't it? A simple practice.
Yeah, very simple. It could be just pausing for a breath and identifying one single thing you're thankful for.
Just one.
Just one to start.
Mm.
Or maybe writing down just 3 small things each day. Tiny things. This deliberate act, the source suggests, it's like training a muscle.
Like cognitive training.
Exactly. The more you consciously look for things to appreciate, like the taste of your coffee or a comfortable chair you're sitting in, maybe a brief moment of quiet,
Mm-hmm.
even just the fact that you can hear the birds outside, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
The more you do that, the more your brain starts noticing them automatically, without effort.
And that helps quiet the noise.
It helps quiet the noise of comparison, the noise of lack.
Yeah.
And over time, that quiet strength the source mentions begins to sort of fill you up from the inside.
Peace, then. The source seems to be saying isn't some grand prize at the end of a long, hard struggle.
Doesn't sound like it.
It's often hidden right in plain sight, woven into the fabric of the small, ordinary moments we tend to rush past every single day.
Yeah, the perspective offered is really that peace begins the moment you make the conscious choice to be thankful.
Right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
It's an acknowledging the warm tea in your mug, the simple shelter you have, the ability to connect with someone you care about, maybe, or even just the quiet miracle of your own breath happening in this very moment.
A thankful heart, then, according to the source, is a quiet but potent form of strength.
Seems so.
You don't need to be loud to be strong or perfect to feel whole
Yeah.
or have everything you think you want to recognize the richness that's already surrounding you. It's about returning to the present, acknowledging the inherent value of what is. So, okay, throughout this deep dive, we've really explored how shifting your focus, from what feels missing to what's vibrantly present, moving away from that constant comparison towards genuine appreciation for your unique path, how that can reveal an incredible richness already woven into the tapestry of your life.
Yeah, it's there.
It's about finding beauty in the ordinary moments, really, and honestly recognizing just how much growth, how much survival even you've already accomplished.
And remember that simple but quite profound invitation from the source.
Yeah.
Just take a breath. Maybe even right now as you're listening.
Yeah.
Take a breath. Bring one single thing to mind that you feel genuinely thankful for.
Okay.
And just let that feeling land. Let it settle within you for a moment, this quiet strength, this internal grounding.
Yeah.
It's accessible anytime you choose to connect with it.
It really circles back to that core insight, doesn't it? It's not about needing a completely different life
No.
or achieving some, far-off future state to find peace or contentment.
Not necessarily.
It's about seeing the life you are currently living in a fundamentally new, more appreciative way. Peace, often overlooked, is right there, hidden in the small, everyday realities.
And, if the source is right,
Yeah.
if peace really begins the moment you decide to be thankful.
Yeah.
And if you already possess so much that a past version of yourself only dared to dream of, then consider this. What incredible power, what profound internal freedom do you gain simply by fully acknowledging the enoughness of this very moment, right now, completely independent of any future achievement or external validation you might still be chasing?